Yeah, we're going to be chatting about your onboarding process. Honestly, your interview process, your onboarding process. When I talk to people and they complain about the quality of their stylist, you hired them. So you are the result of your hiring process, or they're a result of your hiring process. And if you have a team of people that you don't like to be around or you're not performing, well, there's an issue. There's either a people problem or a process problem. And if your hiring process is broken, you hire those people and it's your fault. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about in regards to how you hire people and how you bring people on your team and get them in your world. And the two things I like to focus on is hunger and character. If you're hungry and you have character, like you're a good moral person, I can work with you. I can deal with that. But if you're not hungry, it's going to be really difficult to help build you, at least in the facet of how I operate my businesses. I have all independent stylists, so it's really like a partnership is how I operate. And if you aren't coming to the table and you're not hungry and you're not bringing your A game, it's going to be really hard to build your book behind the chair. Like it takes some work, it takes effort. It's a team effort. The salon's responsible for creating the environment, and we're responsible for running the ads and helping out with the visibility and the outreach and the networking and all that. But it's you have to do the same thing. You have to go above and beyond to build your personal book and your personal brand. And in regards to the onboarding process, there's a couple things you want to establish. You want to make sure that you get your salon's mission out in the open. You want to make sure your statement, your why, right? That's why your salon exists. It's your mission statement. You want to make sure that's out, that's clear. You articulate that very well. Then you want to establish what that new person's core values are. Like, what are their values? And if you don't know what core values are like respect, integrity, commitment, hard work, teamwork, positivity, faith. Like, there's a certain things that people value. And how I do it is I give my new team member or prospect a sheet to fill out, and they circle and they give me their core values. And I get a chance to actually unpack them with that person. I get a chance to be like, hey, why is family important to you? Why is excellence important to you? Why is integrity important to you? Why is teamwork important to you? And then I find out a little more about that person. And when you know what someone's core values are in the initial hiring phase, you get a chance to really see if that's their true core values or if they're just lying to you. Then you also have a chance to let them know what your salon's core values are. If the two of them don't align, it's probably not a good hire. And it's not to say that it won't work out ever. It's just to say, like, hey, these are the things that are important to our culture and our salon. And if they're not important to you, then you're not going to be interested in upholding those core values. So it's probably not going to work out. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that person is not a good person. It just means that culturally, it's probably not a good fit. Depending on the size of your salon, if you're in a smaller location, yeah, it's going to be difficult because if you have a 5-chair salon and you got two people who really value hard work, integrity, and family, and then on the flip side, you have like freedom. What else do we have here? What other core values do we got? Autonomy, fun, money. Like that, those people may not align if that's exactly what they want. They're just interested in themselves. They're interested in building their own personal brand. And what happens is there's going to be, I wouldn't say like arguing in the salon. It won't flow as effortlessly. You won't have that teamwork. You won't have the camaraderie. And so if that's what you're looking for as an owner, if that's the environment you want, those people who just want to make money, have fun, just be out for themselves, they want a lot of freedom, it may not be a good fit for you. But the people who have like the family core value, the teamwork core value, the success core value, honor, like those types of core values, it probably will be a good fit for your salon. When I do my hiring, I want to unpack all that. And then one of the things I do is I ask them, why are you doing hair? Why this career? Where are you going with this career? What experiences do you want to have in this career? Like, where do you want to go? Do you want to be an owner? Do you want to be a platform artist? Do you want a bridal business? Do you want to open up your own salon one day? Like, how big is your vision? if you're an owner with a really big vision, it has to be big enough to fit your team's vision in it. If you're an owner and you're just happy working Tuesday through Saturday, a couple hours a day, you're content, you're comfortable. That's not my thing, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you're just more of a family person, you just want to make enough money to get by and pay your bills and have freedom in that facet, that's cool. But if you have a stylist on your team who's hungry and a go-getter and they have big visions and big ambitions, they're probably going to outgrow your salon. So that's another thing you want to find out. Or if you're a go-getter and you have a big vision as a salon owner and you hire someone and they're just kind of like just getting by, they're happy, booking $1,000 a week, don't really have much drive, you're going to be frustrated with that person. So that's probably not a good fit. So it's important that you ask, hey, why are you here? What's your goals in your career? What experiences do you want to have? And then based on their experiences, you can ask them, what kind of person do you need to become to make those experiences possible? And then you get a chance to really see where that person's mind's at. After all that, we do my initial hiring process. It's a little more in depth. If you guys want access to that, just DM me the word hiring and I'll see if I have a framework I can send over your way. But after all of that, you're going to want to make sure you work with them before you work with them. And so how that looks is have them pop into the salon for a day, hang out, see what they do, see if they're folding towels, see if they're helping out, getting someone coffee, see if they're sweeping the floor, see if they're participating in conversations or if they're just kind of like to themselves in the corner. You're going to want to really see how they interact with other people. Next is you want a working day. Like you wanted them to do a model, even if it's an assistant, even if they're coming in and they have no experience, you want to see like how are their fundamentals? How is their problem solving skills? Are they able to like act comfortable in an uncomfortable situation? Because as we all know in this industry, things get very uncomfortable when you thought that 9V, 9P, 9GI toner was going to come out amazing, but for some reason it came out super ashy or really dark, and now you're panicking. You need to have these skills of being calm under pressure. You're going to be able to see that in that person. Then, if all that works out, you want to have a 30-day check-in. So I do 30-day check-ins, 30, 60, 90. And time goes by sometimes, like where you miss like the opportunity to check in with that person. As we all know, it gets busy during the holidays. So what has worked for me in the past is at the initial interview, at the initial hiring process, go into your calendar and book a 30-day meeting, a 60-day meeting, and a 90-day meeting. If you don't book those meetings ahead of time, they probably won't happen. So it's super important that during that initial hire, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day. Now, what I'm going to be doing moving forward in all of my locations is I'm going to be having a whole onboarding process in regards to our culture, how we function as a team, hair cutting, hair coloring, all techniques. And it's going to be living in my community. I'm going to have a certain section for that in the community. And then once a month, I want to be doing a class for them. And it could be culture, it could be mindset, it could be anything. Those are going to be recorded. Those go into our community hub just for all the locations. So everyone's on the same page. It's important that you really build your team. If you build the team builds the business. And you have to focus on each team member and their uniqueness directly. Like you're going to want to make sure that whatever Jennifer needs or whatever Veronica needs or whatever Samantha needs, you take time to pour into those people. You can't make it like a one size fits all curriculum. People are at different stages of their life and different stages of their career. This is why being an owner and being a leader is such a difficult, high paying career, high paying job because it's hard. It's not easy to lead a team. There's so many different personalities, so many different learning styles. What works for one stylist may not work for another. And if you're doing this, right, a lot of owners do this, you focus on the people who need a lot of the work and attention, when in reality, you should have your systems in place to support them. So this way you can focus your attention equally on everybody. Because what happens is the people who come to work and they show up and they do the things they should be doing, you never pay attention to them. And you seem to neglect them and they feel like they're not being seen, heard, And all of a sudden they leave your salon. You're like, oh my God, what happened? Why is this person leaving? I thought they were awesome. I thought we had a great fit. It's because you neglect them. You didn't pay attention to them. So these are things that I learned from my own experience, and I learned the hard way sometimes. And as time goes on, I'm getting better and better and better. And I'm sharing these with you so you don't make the same mistakes. So as an owner, you're like, what do I do when I'm not doing hair behind the chair? There's so much stuff to do. And if that stuff doesn't excite you, then keep cutting hair, keep coloring hair, and hire someone so that the hiring process, the onboarding process, you have some kind of manager to delegate those tasks to, and they're being done properly. So that's a quick little breakdown of how I like to hire, some things I like to pay attention to and look out for. I think that core values, hands down, is one of the most important things you need to establish with that new hire. For this main thing, before we go to Q&A, it's because of this. When you hire someone and they tell you teamwork is important, 2, 3 months go by. Hey, Jennifer, can I talk to you for a second? When we first brought you on the team, you said teamwork's really important. Lately, you've been leaving a little early. You haven't really been helping out with the team. You haven't been showing up to the classes. Is everything cool? Is teamwork still important to you? It gives you the ability to speak about the core value and not really direct it at the person. The conversation is based around the core value, and is it still important to that person? And it keeps them from being defensive, and it helps you seek first to understand. So that's one of the main reasons why I like to establish what the salon's core values are and what's important to that person. Because if you don't do that, you have nothing to really have a conversation about except for attacking the person's actions rather than the core value that they're not showing. So I hope that little tip helped. James, we're going to hop into a Q&A. So I'll give you guys a minute to get some questions and answers going, or really questions. I'll give the answers. But James, anything in the chat right now, question wise? Yeah, hunger is the biggest issue, and it comes from seasons of life. If you guys think about when this younger generation was born, they were born in a pretty amazing time. Like our generation, like my generation, I'm born 79, which what I'm not a millennial, James. What am I considered? Gen X, yeah. Like we're probably like the best generation on the planet, Gen X. I mean, I think so. Yeah, we don't take shit. We work hard. We don't cry. We're not babies. We're also like we have empathy, but yet we get shit done. And then the millennials, they got a bad rap, but millennials are finding their own way right now. And this new younger generation, there's something to be said for them. Like they may not work hard, but they will work hard with the right direction. The problem is they grew up with an instant gratification, an instant result, an instant response for everything. They had a cell phone. You sent a message, you got a text, you responded back. My generation, it was a letter. We didn't even have email yet growing up. Like, actually, one of the people who I follow, and he follows me now, Claudio, he was a foreign exchange student, or his family moved here for a job. So he came from Switzerland, and he was up the street from me. And we were best friends, and we used to send each other letters. And obviously, no time grew on, we stopped sending each other letters, but I found him on Instagram. Now I can message him instantly. Like I didn't have access to that. So had I been born now, we could have stayed in touch this whole time. And if just to piggyback off that, this generation, if they're hungry, they can DoorDash shit. So it's like they're almost being bred to be lazy. They're not hunters. You have to teach them how to hunt. Unfortunately, they're going to learn the hard way eventually and they're going to get hungry. So it's up to you as a leader to inspire them and to find out what really moves and motivates them. That's the power of being a leader. You have to master influence and you have to inspire people. If you can't do that, then you have to really build on your leadership skills. So when you're telling me that the younger generation is not hungry, trust me, I get it. I totally understand. But that's my downfall as a leader. I have to find a way to make them hungry or pull the hunger out of them, show them what's possible. So it's really, really important that you find out what makes that person tick, what inspires them, and then you lean into that. James, any questions? Guys, I'm glad you brought that up, Ishmael. In regards to burning the midnight oil, our generation, we think that working harder is getting us somewhere. It's one thing to be busy. It's a completely different thing to be productive. And as owners, we fall into this trap of, just being busy. When in reality, you're just doing things to keep busy, to make yourself feel better because you're being busy. You should just be productive and delegate the $10 an hour task to somebody else. So the things that you're doing really build the business. And so any person out there, ask yourself, am I being productive or am I just being busy?
That was a challenge that you had to figure out early on in your career. You were very, very busy and you weren't growing with the salon, and then all of a sudden you figured out how to execute properly and work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, it's
Especially
huge.
when you had kids.
It's a real big challenge because we're, especially coming from an artist behind the chair to becoming an owner, and you obviously wear all the hats and everything, but you're so used to doing something with your hands and getting a result. And so you do someone's hair, you cut the hair, you color the hair, you blow it out, finished product, you get that reward, instant reward from that person. They love it. They look in the mirror. As an owner, sometimes the work that needs to get done, you don't get that instant result. So when you're doing your SEO, you're doing the Google ad, you're doing the whatever, you're doing the meetings with the team, it takes time. It takes time to plant the seed, water it, nurture the garden, and then wait for it to grow. When you're an artist, you're a barber, you're a stylist, you're a lash tech, you're whatever, and you start owning a business, you don't have that instant gratification. And so it's really hard to keep momentum going because you're not seeing the results yet. But it's about it's about the things you do day in and day out consistently that grows a business. And what happens is many of us stop doing it before we actually see the result happen. And that's probably the biggest issue when I speak to an owner and they're not successful yet. It's because they gave up too soon. They hit what we call the complexity ceiling. Things that either too complex or they didn't see the result. So they stop doing the thing and then they change direction, try something else. They're excited in the beginning. And then all of a sudden it gets hard. They don't see a result. So they say it doesn't work. Then they change direction again. And all they do is for 5 years keep changing direction without getting any results. It's like the entrepreneurial curse. And if you're on this call, you're watching this podcast, and you belong to a network marketing company, an MLM, and you fucking joined 10 of them in your life, and you're still not a multi-billionaire yet, guess what? That's not the right fit for you. Start your own company, pour into that, and build that business. Not to say MLMs don't work, because they can work, but you own a salon. Focus on the salon. Don't focus on Monet. Don't focus on the next big thing. I did it. I know. I've been in MLMs before. Focus on growing your salon. Focus on your core business. Get that to a point where you can buy back all your time, replace yourself in the business, and then go do something else. There's something I call the personal economy. It's service, product, and knowledge. You, as a salon or a barber shop owner or whatever, an artist, a tech, you do services. You have a skill set. There's products associated with that. There's knowledge associated with that. If you master the service side of things, then you can either go to the product route or the knowledge route. Start a course, start an education company. You have options to build your personal economy. So keep everything in the same house. Don't start jumping out and becoming a realtor and then start to do some other business, start a clothing line. It doesn't work. Like I laugh when I see people's Instagram bio and they're like, CEO of this company, CEO of that company. They do this. They do like, you don't do anything. You just like having fucking titles. Focus on one thing, become the best in the world at it, replace yourself in that company, and then go do something else. And I'm saying that because I did it. I did all of it. I made all the mistakes. Trust me. I'm not doing it now. Everything I do revolves around this. People are like, why don't you coach other businesses other than salons? I could, but right now it's not the time. Right now is the time for me to do what I'm doing now, stay in my lane, help everyone out in this industry, whether you're a stylist or a salon owner or you sell retail on Shopify, everything is in the same house. I can speak authentically on it. Now, once I build this into a gigantic business and I can replace myself, then maybe I'll go off and do other things in the service industry. That's the next level up. So I'm in service now. That means I'm going to bring on dentists, physical therapists, chiropractors, and then that's what's next for me. And then after I master that, I'll go to another what's next. It could happen in 1 year, it could happen in 5 years, but I'm staying in my lane. I'm not cutting hair in the morning and then showing a house in the afternoon. It's ridiculous. Oh, it's networking. It's not networking. It's a distraction. So next question, please.
Got a couple coming in.
All right.
Rico, how long do you try to inspire before you cut your losses? I refuse to micromanage, and we have different strategies to influence and inspire a team, but some team members just don't get hungry.
Yeah. So it's whenever I talk to somebody, it's either a people problem or a process problem. What's your process for inspiring them? And does that process work for 10 out of your 12 team members? If it does, then probably the two are just, it's a people problem. So take a look at the process. And then if people are not staying hungry, then you have to take a look at the process now. Like if you have if it's 5 out of the 10 that are hungry and 5 are just not being motivated or inspired, then you have to take a look at the process of what you do to inspire them. So take a look at the numbers. If you're truly inspiring everybody, then your ratio is going to be like 90% of your team is going to be on point. And if not, then it's a process problem. So people always jump right first. Oh, it's a people problem. I can't find good people. Well, if that's the case, you hired the wrong person. So let's back it up a little bit and take a look at your hiring process. Next question.
So we have two questions from two different people that are pretty similar.
Cool.
So Bilo Bod, I have different generations of staff at my salon. The older ones, Gen X and millennials, can build their books, whereas the Gen Z and Zoomers are too embarrassed to ask people to come see them. And Peyton Walty says we have had a difficult time lighting the fire under the youngest generation of stylists they seem to get overwhelmed really fast.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. It's a mindset issue. You as a leader need to unpack their negative or limited beliefs around reaching out to people and building a book because they are embarrassed for whatever reason. And they don't have enough pain yet in their life. The reason why the Gen Xers and like the millennials and the older people can actually go out there and hunt and bring back food because we need to feed a family. These kids have been getting spoon fed their whole life. And so they haven't really been punched in the face yet with life. Once life punches them in the mouth, they're going to be like, oh shit, I got to get to it. Or they're going to change careers and that's not going to work either. So it's your job to unpack their limited beliefs and their negative beliefs. So the limited belief around themselves, like, oh, I can't get busy or I can't do that, or they're going to make fun of me, or the negative belief around what it is like to reach out to people, or the negative belief around like sales and opening conversations with people. Because once you unpack that and you figure out what is the story they're telling themselves, then you're going to be able to get more out of that person and really have them show up for themselves. That's all it revolves around. It's pain or pleasure. They're avoiding pain or they're seeking pleasure. That's it. So there's not enough pain yet in their life that they need to avoid, like the pain of going home with no money and watching your child starve. That's fucking painful. So once they experience that pain, then they're going to wind up going out and DMing people and doing the social media post and really building their book. Or once they get a taste of the good life, hey, that first $4,000 week behind the chair, that's pleasurable. Holy shit. So you don't have to do it forever. But if you're a solid owner and you could really feed their book and you have to pour into them and show them what it's like, hey, you can do this too, then you'll get them performing at a little bit of a higher level.
We got Ishmael. He said, "What happens when a Chinese client wanted ash blonde hair? It turned out to be blonde highlight or ash blonde balayage." Turned out to be blonde highlight. What could have gone wrong?
James, ask this to me again.
I have a Chinese client she wanted an ash blonde balayage.
Okay.
Turned out to be blonde highlight. What could have gone wrong?
A million different things. You didn't lift her. First off, don't balayage anyone who's darker than like a level 4. Make sure you put them in a foil. I don't care who you are. I don't care what brand you represent. I don't care what you show on Instagram or YouTube. It's not going to lift the way you want it to. If you want to be blonde, like you could balayage somebody and paint them from a 4, you get them to a 6. That's not a problem. But if you want to be an ashy blonde and you're Chinese, Asian, Colombian, any kind of dark-haired person, India, like you guys all know, like there's certain nationalities that just don't lift past a certain level unless it's one or two processes, or you literally take 8 hours to do it. You're not going to get there just open air painting. You're going to need to follow that person. So do not do that if you want to be an ashy blonde. You need to get past the orange and into the pale yellow stage in order to get them to be ashy. So that's probably what happened. Sometimes you watch these people you see on Instagram, these techniques, it just doesn't always work. I'm an old school person. I like putting stuff in a foil. I do balayage. I can't paint. They're going to be level 6 and above, 7 and above.
How long should the onboarding process typically last to ensure both integration and retention?
Yeah, 90 days. 90 days, and then for retention, ongoing monthly check-ins, ongoing quarterly one-on-ones. It's your stylist. Here's the thing that's going to change the game for all of you guys who are owners. You need to start thinking of your stylist and your team and your barbers as your clients. You think of your clients as the only people coming in the salon to get their hair done. You're wrong. Your clients are also your stylists too. If you take a commission from them, if you have a commission split, or they pay you rent, they're your clients too. It's your job to create raving fans of all your clients. So if you don't create raving fans of your clients, I'm talking about the clients, the internal clients, your team, they're going to leave. They're going to go elsewhere. You have a shitty retention. So it's up to you as the owner to keep checking in with them, keep following up with them, keep doing the monthly check-ins, keep doing the one-on-ones. What begins to happen, though, you stop because you're frustrated, because your process is broken, you hire the wrong person, and then you stop having the meetings because you're tired of repeating yourself. But you repeat yourself because there's no consequences. And I don't like consequential, I don't like doing that kind of leadership, but there's no guidance there. There's no like, hey, so-and-so, this is how we act. This is our culture. This is what we do. If they don't align with that, you get frustrated and then you just give up. You shouldn't do that. You have to play to win, not play. Don't stop playing not to lose. Start playing to win. If that person's not an A player on your team and you got 5 A players and 3 shitty players, get rid of them. You don't need to keep them on your team. It's dead weight. Make more room for other people. Like I said, you have to make sure your process is good though. If you're always touching base with them, you're giving them all the tools and resources needed to grow their career, and they're just not getting it. Sometimes you got to throw people overboard. And you doing that for them, not to them, for them, might open their eyes and wake them up to like, holy shit, I'm not performing. I just lost an opportunity at a great salon. And then they get hungry and then they show up for the next salon. So you'll do so much more for somebody for their career by letting them go if they're not performing at the level they should be performing at than keeping them on your team just getting by. So if you truly care about that person, it might be time to let them go.
Not an owner, but a manager and stylist. How much time should you put into each? Like a ratio.
Each person, I like a quarterly one-on-one, a group meeting once a month, and then a quarterly 1 hour one-on-one every quarter. And then as needed throughout that quarter, check-ins throughout the weeks. Like it's based on the person's goals and where they're at in the industry as well. And their communication style. Like one of the lessons I teach is called the 5 languages of leadership. And I got it from the book of the 5 love languages. Each person gives and receives information in different ways. Their love language, right? But that also applies to leadership. A relationship's a relationship, whether you're a man and a woman in an intimate relationship, husband and a wife, or if you're employer and employee or manager and team member. Like there's a certain way you speak to people and a certain way people like to be spoken to. And some people don't receive criticism the same as like another person. So it's important that you understand how that person is going to receive the information you're giving them. And once you figure that out, a 2-minute conversation for one person is all you need. But then you might need to sit down with somebody for a half hour and really nurture them and talk to them because they're in the beginning phases of their career. So it's all relevant to the person. But if you keep a certain cadence of monthly check-ins, group, same Friday, the first Friday of every month, and then from there you book your quarterly check-ins. That way you can realign with their goals. And every quarter you go on sprints. That's important. And then the people who need a little more nurturing, then you could do like 15-minute check-ins with them throughout the quarter.
Okay, we got have any info for suite owners and how to make it more successful?
Yeah. So, DM me the word grow, and I could give you a whole strategy, and we could talk about what that looks like to join the academy. But if you're the best at what you do, you're going to get busy. This is the like marketing 101. You don't need to read a book. You don't need to buy another course on marketing. This is all you need to do. You guys ready? Become the best in the world at whatever service you do. Literally the best. Then you tell the world about it through your social media. That's it. Eventually, you will become the busiest person. People will fly from all over the world to come get their hair done by you, get their lashes done by you, get their microblading done by you. But the problem is, you're too focused on the fucking TikTok dance or whatever, or the social media trend, or trying to, like, I don't know what people try and do. Just become the best at what you do. Put your camera on, film yourself speaking about what you do, give tips, give value. Eventually, you become the busiest person in your area. Look at Jack Martin. He's the best at great blending. He has people flying from all over the world to get their hair done by him. It's not, and he's not even a kid. He's like an older man who just took advantage of social media. So there's no excuse for any of you. So if you own a suite, just become the best. That's it. And tell everyone, every single person you talk to. Next question, James. Guys, I just saw a question. So yeah, so the community, like what I do, like I love these Q&As, they're great, but it's a combination of coaching, community, and curriculum. Someone just asked exactly, do I have a course? I don't have a course. I have curriculum. So it's a combination of coaching. I do a one-on-one strategy call. Then we go live 3 times a week, 4 times a week. I have different categories in my community where I help different kind of people, but up to 4 times a week, you can speak to me live, unpack whatever problems you have. In addition to email, tech support, and in addition to the community. So you're going to be around other suite owners, salon owners, barbershop owners, and people who are really just in it, and they're in it to win it, and they're high performing salon owners, and you're going to learn so much from not just the live calls, but from the curriculum. So if you want to learn how to master ads, guess what? I got a lesson on that. You want to learn how to master Google ads, meta ads, doesn't matter. You want to learn how to lead a team. You want to learn how to onboard people. We break it down to 4 different areas. It's operations, leadership, marketing, and mindset. You master those 4 areas, and that's how the curriculum breaks down. You will become a successful salon owner. Hands down, this is the best program. I put it against any other program out there. So that's how the program breaks down for that question. James, your next question.
Yeah. How can I incorporate team culture into the onboarding process to ensure new hires feel like they're part of the team?
Yeah, so that is it's just part of the hangout day. Like they have to come in and hang out for the day. If you want to really go above and beyond, every time you bring in a new team member, you have an event. You go out to dinner. You do like a little welcoming thing. You have like a onboarding package where everyone signs a card for them. It's like, hey, welcome to the team, and everyone puts their initials in there or signature in there. You know, you could do fun stuff like that. So you could do a day of beauty where the person now gets their hair cut by somebody, a blow up by somebody, a facial by somebody. Like things like that work really well. That's something that you could do. But you know, just going to dinner to welcome a new team member, as long as you don't have like a 700-person team. If you got like a 5-person salon, that's great. That's what I would do. In fact, that's a good idea. That's what I should do.
What types of training should I prioritize during onboarding for stylists, receptionists, and other roles?
There's something I teach called the camcorder method. So you're going to want to, if you're the owner and you like things done a certain way, you could film yourself doing each one of those positions in your salon. And that's the training that you give them. So you know that there's consistency between the front desk, the assistant, the hairstylist, the lash tech, or whatever. That way it's being done the way you want it to be done, how you do it. Because ultimately, you created a salon because you should think you're the best. And you should want to make sure that you have, within reason, a standard you're setting based on how good you are at all those things and how you want your salon to run. So really, it's it's up to the owner to set those standards and create that curriculum. And so you may not have to create the curriculum. You could, if you have a really amazing front desk person, you could have them do it. But at least you want to make sure you have the the curriculum for that person, from how you book appointments in that salon to how you reach back out to clients after their first visit.
Kimmy Beauty, how does a booth renting salon support their stylist?
This is my thing with booth rental salons. You need to be an amazing leader and you need to have a really solid culture contract, but ultimately they truly are independent and they're kind of on their own. An amazing leader can get everyone together. You would need to make sure you establish that there's a rule that you guys have a once a month meeting. You have some kind of a check in with those people to help them be successful in their career. One of the things that I like is having a pool for advertising. So if you have a bunch of booth renters, let's call them like person A, B, C, and D. So person A might be fully booked. They don't need to put any money in that pool. Person B, you can run ads specifically for that person's name, their Instagram page, and you can do it on Google or Meta, whatever. And then it might be they chip in $5 a day for that. And so you run ads for $5 a day. Person C, they might be an extension artist, so they have a little more of a budget. They could do $10 a day, and then that gets ran through the salon's social media, Instagram account, Google Ads account, whatever you want to do. That's one way you could do it to support them. But another way is making your salon the premier education place. So if you have a decent sized salon, make that the salon that all the education happens in the community. This way, people that who work there that rent chairs there are always getting education. But the booth renter model is a very difficult model for someone who's not a strong leader. So anything and everything you can do to digest information on leadership, do that.
What is the best way to give constructive feedback to new hires without overwhelming them?
The 30, 60, 90-day check-in with them. And so like a new hire, you could do like a after week 1, just a quick update. How's it going? Any feedback for us? And you give them a little feedback as well. And so you spread it out, spread it out over a longer time horizon. So you don't just bombard them at the 30-day check-in with 50 different things. You want to just check in with them and see how they're doing. Again, this is a lot of work. Like when you bring in a new hire, it's like, think about when you date somebody. You first start dating them and how often you text and call and communicate and hang out with them. And then after you start dating someone for a while, it starts spreading out a little bit. So think of that nurturing process. Like you're really trying to win them over and make sure that they understand who you are, you understand who they are. So it's going to be, I would say you want to check in with that person relatively often. I would say once a week, just for the first 30 days. And at the end of the 30 days, you just make sure that here's what I found, here's what you did great, here's where you got to improve, and then you go to day 60. And then you can spread that out to every 2 weeks. And then for if they don't improve on anything at day 60, it might be a good time to cut them loose. And if they're working on it, day 90, you look back and like, all right, here's what we talked about. Here's what you improved on. Here's what you still need to improve on. I think you're still a good fit for the team. And then you move on. And then you might have to repeat the 30, 60, 90-day thing. But if you have, a solid onboarding system and they could really dive into some kind of curriculum, it should be really easy to do.
Are there any specific red flags during the onboarding process that indicate a new hire might not be the right fit?
They have the complete opposite core values as your salon. They come to the table with like 45 days off that they need. They cannot work weekends. They start bashing their other salon. They didn't show up looking their best. Like when someone comes to an interview, you should show up. Like you should look like, hey, I'm here for an interview. This is my best foot forward. If they come in and like they're not representing our industry, and this, like I did a post about this like a year or two ago, and people got all bent out of shape about it. Why is it that in our industry, we think it's okay to show up to work without your hair done and makeup done, or if you don't wear makeup, that's fine. But your clothes are wrinkled. You look like shit, and you don't look like you are a professional. You look like you're going to the gym. Why is it that is okay? Like, I don't understand it. But what if you were a professional lawyer? Can you show up to the courtroom with your hair undone, give your opening statement, and then go back into the bathroom, blow your hair out, and put your makeup on? No. In our industry, for whatever reason, and we're professional hairstylists, your beauticians or cosmetologists, we feel it's okay to show up to work, rolling out of bed, throw your first client's color on, and then go get ready for work. It's actually insanity. No other profession does that but ours. It's so ridiculous. If you want to be treated like a professional, act like a professional. So when people show up to an interview not looking like they're professional, that's probably a red flag. I think that's going to be the real James too, by the way. We'll use that one so you can timestamp it. We got like 2 questions left, so make them good. We have the community live going in a little bit.
How can I best communicate my salon's mission, vision, and values to a new hire?
I have an onboarding document that I'm going to start using moving forward. And so I give them like the document, my mission statement, our core values, things that, I'm bringing it up right now, actually. Let me get it. So who our salon isn't for, who our salon is for. It's a document they can read. And I want to know, like, hey, this is what our salon does. This is what we're about. Like, I hope times have changed. The Warehouse Salon has a new way of doing things in our industry. 45% commission doesn't cut it anymore, but neither does working alone in a suite. You know it, I know it, we all know it. 70% is the new 50% commission. So I start like that. And then I go into a couple quotes. I'm like, who our salon isn't for. If you think this is just a hobby and not a career, this isn't for you. If you don't want to be part of a team, this is not the place for you. If you rather complain about being slow than actually taking action to build a life-changing career, guess what? This is not the salon for you. So if you want freedom, money, autonomy, you want fun, you want growth, this is the salon for you. Then I go over my core values and then I have what we're going to focus on as we bring you on the team, and then how to apply to the team, who to reach out to. I put my phone number in there. So when people show interest, if they want to hire, I'm like, hey, read this document. This is what we're about. And if it aligns with what they want, then we go to part 2. Come on in. We have a cup of coffee. We talk. We figure, or they just come visit and hang out. We chit chat. It could be on the phone too. And then part 3 is we go over the core values. So there's a couple stages to that onboarding process. But I'm very upfront and clear with who we are and what we do.
Okay, the last question. What are some common mistakes salon owners make during onboarding and how can I avoid them?
They overlook a red flag, or they make justifications for a person's shortcomings, thinking that it can change, or they hire because they need money. Like, there's a couple like of variables in that. Like, you look at somebody like, oh shit, she's booking 3,000 a week. I want to get her on my team. I don't care if she doesn't align with what we align with. I need the money anyway. So when you hire because you think someone's going to bring in money to your business, I get it. It's what we're here for. We're here to make money, but at what cost? A toxic culture, a wrong fit, someone who's going to leave in a couple months anyway. You're going to waste all that time with that person instead of looking around for other people that could be a good fit. I think that's what owners do. We panic. We're playing not to lose rather than playing to win. If you guys are part of the community, that was the lesson yesterday, by the way. So play to win, don't play not to lose. And when you're playing not to lose, you're going to hire the person just because you think they can bring in revenue to your salon or rent a chair. And that's not really how you win. So hire people who align strictly with your core values. And like, if they say honesty is their core value, they pick that on the sheet that I give out, and its integrity is ours. It's the same thing. Like, as long as the word's pretty much the same, I don't really care. But you want to make sure that they're truly here for the right reasons. You guys align on mission, you align on core values, and they're hungry. So when you ask the question about what's possible in this career, if they're very young, it might take a little nurturing. So you could be a little easier on them. But if they've been around for a little while and they think that they just want to make 35 grand a year or 50 grand a year, well, you're not hungry enough for me. You do know you can make 200,000 a year doing hair in a commission salon behind the chair. It's possible. 100% possible for someone who's hungry. So I want to make sure that I don't hire someone just to get a body in my salon, because I've done that before and it just never worked out great. All right, guys. If you want today's live, it's going to be on the YouTube channel. It will also be on the podcast on nickmirabella.com. If you guys are interested in really leveling up your salon and you are just struggling to find profits in your salon model, if you are just not a great leader yet and you want some skills to refine your leadership, you want to figure out ways to improve your SEO, your marketing, and really just dive deep into creating a salon business that is successful and you could buy back your time from, so you're not slave behind the chair anymore, then shoot me a DM me the word grow. Don't drop it in the comments. Go to Instagram. I'm at Nick Mirabella, and just say, hey, saw your podcast. I'm looking to grow my salon. Let's talk. And we'll get a conversation going. And if you're a good fit, we will rock and roll. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you later.